Hello everyone! So I decided I was going to do a video about being neurodivergent in the Goth community, specifically for me being autistic in the Goth community, and just like how that's impacted me, and just the differences for me between being in that community and other communities. For me, this will be there will be some trigger warnings right now because I'm going to be talking about some stuff in my past, and this might be a longish video, but hopefully it finds you well, and hopefully this helps some of you if you think you might be neurodivergent. So yeah. All right, so trigger warnings, we will be talking about abuse and just different things in my past. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning, just how I grew up as a kid and growing up, and just knowing and finding out and knowing that I was autistic, etc., and just, yeah, before I got a very late diagnosis, first of all, before I found out that I was autistic, my mom said, she thought that I was in the beginning because, and by the way, all the things I talk about myself, I'm an expert on myself. I am not an expert on other autistic individuals. So if you don't fit this mold, it's okay. Don't get offended. This is me. So we're going to be talking about me. So not every single person who's autistic will have every single thing that I have. I have a lot of the stereotypes, but one thing that was very telling when I was younger, when I was a baby, my mom said I would get very rigid, and I was very nonverbal and would just scream and scream and scream, and I would get rigid. And when people talk to babies, they usually respond in different ways. I wouldn't respond. I would just like stare, and I just seemed like non-emotional, which is not true. I have emotions. They're just a little bit different than some people at different times. But I didn't have any friends as I grew up. I didn't have any friends when I was a little kid. I got bullied, spat at, beat up. It was awful. Even teachers that didn't understand, they were not very kind to me. They would always kick me out of class thinking I had attention problems. I do. A lot of people that are autistic also have some ADHD and things like that. So yeah, I had a lot of stuff going on, and I didn't, my mom would take me to doctor after doctor after doctor. A lot of females and people of color go misdiagnosed for longer than white males, and that's a fact, and that's very, very sad. There's a lot of people walking around. There's even other males, white males, walking around that didn't know they have it, and they're misdiagnosed as other things. But especially women and people of color, they are misdiagnosed, or people just turn a blind eye and they assume that it's just, a behavioral problem, and it's really, really sad. And so I want to not only talk about acceptance, but also just spread awareness. I do want you to let you know also that I was professionally diagnosed, but I do believe and I feel that self-diagnosis is very, very valid. So if you think you have it and you've gone your whole life and you have a lot of stuff going on, just talk to somebody. Find a really great community. There's some really great communities online, and there's some great blogs as well that I can give you info to. If you ever want info, just email me. You can talk to me. So basically, I didn't have that many friends. It was very, very hard. I didn't have any friends until I was much, much older. And all my friends that I did have that were older were much, much older. I had a lot of special interests. Not everybody is going to have math and science as a special interest. I was obsessed with mathematical equations. I was obsessed with science. That was a special interest. Biology, chemistry. I was obsessed with art as well. My parents noticed that I would sit there for days and days and days and days and do DIYs, but not to the extent that most people do it. It would go on for days, sometimes weeks, and I would just like hone in. I had sensory issues. I still do. You don't grow out of it, or at least I don't. I don't think most people grow out of the sensory issues if you have them. It was debilitating to the point where it was very hard for me. Sounds, there's a lot of sounds that might not bother you, but with autistics, sometimes they can be extremely painful to our ears. I wear something now called ear loops. They are wonderful. and they're great, and they're not sponsoring me or paying me to say this. They're wonderful. Ear loops are great. I will actually put the link down below so you guys can check it out. Even if you don't, even if you aren't autistic and you have sensory overload issues, it will help you. Even if you're neurotypical and you just have sensory stuff. So for me, it was very, very difficult. Like somebody would drop a trash can, or there would be a small sound, and it would sound like a small bomb going off to me. It was so loud, and I couldn't figure it out. And so it was just very painful for me. Going out to certain places, even going shopping, has been very hard. Sensory issues with clothing. I would change multiple times a day, and like all the time change my clothing, and they couldn't figure it out. They were like, is she just not comfortable? What's going on? I've always been extremely gender fluid, extremely open, and just kind of like, people couldn't really figure me out. And one thing about autistics is a lot more of us happen to be like gender fluid or just different than the neurotypical, and that's totally normal and totally natural for us. And there's just like a lot of stuff. But they didn't figure it out, but until much later in life. And once I was diagnosed, it was such a relief, and I was able to get the help that I need. I was able to find psychologists and therapists that specialize in helping out people that might be autistic, that are autistic or might be autistic. It was really great. And so one thing was, there was a lot of communities that just did not open their arms to me. They weren't very nice. I got into goth music at a pretty young age. I didn't know it was goth. I didn't even know what it was until somebody much older told me about it. And I was just like, what is this? This is so cool. This is amazing, and it just kind of took me to a different world. Goth music for me was the first start of my journey. I really enjoy ASMR, and I enjoy soothing sounds, and a lot of goth music, just the different percussions and just the different instruments and things and synths were very soothing to my ears, played on a low level volume. And so it was just really nice for me. And I had a group of people in high school kind of embrace me. They were much, much older than me. And they were like, oh, you're goth. And I was like, what does that even mean? I was dressed in black. I really enjoyed Dracula, vampire movies, novels, and all this music. And I didn't know what goth was. And so I mistook it for like, all these other things, and I didn't know. And they were like, oh, this is what that is. You might want to check it out, And so they were very welcoming. I do have a lot of meltdowns, quite a few. I've been having them my whole life. It's very normal for autistics to have meltdowns and also to have autistic burnout, which can last days and sometimes weeks, sometimes months. And so it's intense, but I noticed the people in the goth community were very loving, very understanding, very chill, and they didn't judge me. And it was really cool because when I would correct them with something or talk about something or research something with them or fact check, they weren't all, some of them got offended, but most of them didn't get offended. They love knowledge. And that's one thing that I love about the goth community is we had our witty banter and our knowledge and just like, and they were seekers of knowledge. They were seekers of truth and seekers of new music, and old music, and it was wonderful. And so that was something that just really saved my life. It really did. It was something. I was very suicidal. I was very alone. And when I found this community, I found more neurodivergent people. I didn't even know what the term neurodivergent meant. And I found a lot of people with OCD, ADHD, people that were autistic, people that were openly autistic, and they were very, very kind, and it's just it was a wonderful little journey. And I feel like I finally kind of found my place in the world. And just everything with goth just resonated with me. Everything about the literature, the music, the style. And I started getting into different types of fashion and dressing, and it was really fun. And so I do want you to know, if you happen to be neurodivergent and you're a young person or an older person and you feel alone, you are not alone. And you are totally welcome in our community. And we embrace you. We embrace everybody. And this is just such a wonderful community. It doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bi, pan, it doesn't matter, man. We just love each other. We support each other. The only thing that's a little bit hard for me in the community is going to clubs. because of the sounds and a lot of people. It can be hard for me, but I love, going for the music. I love to dance, so I bring my earplugs sometimes if I need to. And if I need to be left alone, I kind of just go off into the corner. So I don't go to as many shows and clubs as I used to when I was younger. It can be a lot for me to process. I have overload of sensory stuff and information. So sometimes people will think I'm being, rude or pissy, and I'm not. It's just sometimes it's hard for me. Like if someone comes up to me, talks to me, touches me, I don't really like to be touched a whole lot. So I do put that boundary out there. Unless I know you really, really well, like my husband or a really, really good friend that I've known for like a long time, I don't really like to be just grabbed and things like that. It's just hard for me. And it's a boundary issue, but it's also a sensory thing. So yeah, there's just different things like that. But other than that, it's been an amazing journey, and I've learned how to deal. When I go to clubs and things like that, I just bring my stimming toys or my earplugs. I bring a friend with me, and if it's too much, I'll just go outside and just hang out for a little bit. I really do love going to shows. If I do go to shows, for me, a requirement for me, and this, I will never go to indoor shows anymore. It's a little much for me, but I do outdoor shows. I love nature, and so I go outdoors a lot, and so that for me helps me. And also I love, if I'm having sensory overload or I'm having a lot of meltdowns or having a hard week or hard day, I will just watch stuff online as well. And so that's one reason why I really love the online community. I love, being with people in person as well, but I like to be outside. Outside is something that really helps me. I love nature. It soothes me. I like to go hiking or just have a picnic or go to the cemetery, I love going to cemeteries. I love listening to podcasts, things like that. And so, yeah. And welcome to our community if you're neurodivergent. I love people. I will always honor everybody's pronouns. I get that because I have some of my own. So I just respect, you guys are awesome. And that's a little bit more of my journey. I would love to hear about your journey. If you happen to be neurodivergent, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk to you. I like to meet new people and just get more knowledge and more friends and just kind of listen to what people have to say. And there's a lot of support out there. So I'm going to try to find some really cool support, just some really cool sites that I can list down below. And if you think you might have, might be autistic, or if you think you might be neurodivergent in some way, I'll go ahead and put some really cool, reputable resources down below so you guys can check it out. Yeah, so if you guys like more videos like this and more personal videos, you like to see me ramble, let me know. If you want to hear more about my journey, or if you want me to specifically do a video talking about sensory issues, I can do that. It's a lot. I'd probably go on for quite some time. And I can also show you just different things that help me as well, that help me cope. We can talk about coping issues, but but this is a Gothic lifestyle channel. So most of the time I talk about reviews. I do outfits that I do, and also, music, things like that, books. But yeah, if you want more personal content, that's cool. And if some of you guys like to watch my little hiking videos, that makes me happy because not a lot of people like that, watching that stuff. Some of it can be boring. You guys like the butterfly grove too, which was cool. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great week, and I will stop rambling now. And please leave comments down below and talk to me. All right, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.